call it a drop. Some nights I wish that my lips could build a castle. Some nights I wish they just fall.
All right, everybody sit down. All right, first off, real quick, I want to get this out of the way because my talk is about being a gladiator, and we actually got some of those in the room, and it's because they're veterans or they're in the military. So just real quick, if you're in the military or you're a veteran or prior service, can you stand up and just give them a hand? All right, so it's real simple. If you're in the military, we all have something in common. We had to do this thing called basic training. And I don't think when we got there, I don't think anybody said, man, I can't wait to get there and go through basic training and how fun it's going to be. You know, it was really, they were dreading it. It was hard. You had to do things you didn't think you could do. You had to crawl. You had to crawl in the mud, fire weapons for some people for the first time. You had to learn skills that you never knew you thought you had. And worst of all, you had to run a lot. You know what? There's no difference between that and what we're doing here. All right, the difference is that if you just came on board, you're going through basic training. All right, and it's not going to turn out perfect the first time. In fact, if anybody has had something turn out perfect the first time, raise your hand. No one? All right. So I wanted to say one thing. How do you measure success? What is success? And to me, success is the time it takes from when you speak something into existence and it actually happens or comes to fruition. All right, so let me say that again. So a lot of people have good ideas, right? Hey, that would be a good idea. Well, that sounds like a good idea. In fact, we probably say that to ourselves many times during the day. But the difference is to actually make it happen, it takes action. And not just a little bit of action, it takes a lot of action. And the problem is that when somebody thinks successful, they think it's just, oh, you take a pill or you join a company and it's automatically just going to happen. Well, if you can't measure what you've been doing, and we have a measurement here, by the way. It's called your rank, all right? And it's literally my invitation for all of you that are here this weekend that has just been phenomenal, is to challenge yourself, all right? Quit playing around. You know, there's so much we have here to take advantage of. Don't let this be another good idea. All right? You can get results. We all are winners. We made it out of the womb. We're here. We learned how to survive. And which brings me to my next point, which is, you know, everybody has a winning formula. All right? A winning formula. What we already know and do to survive. Right? We've learned that. In fact, a lot of what I'm saying, you've heard Laura, Tina, Dale, everybody that's talked, we all have some of the same things in common. And I love what Dale said, you know, when people do things, and he's like, or they keep doing the same thing twice and expecting a different result. And he said, why do you do that? All right? That's why I challenge people to be a gladiator, all right? You do not have to tuck tail and run the first time somebody says no, all right? It just means not now. All right? And the only difference between a lot of people standing up here and you sitting out there, it's just we've just done it over and over and over and over. Repetition. All right, just did repetition. So I'm gonna digress and talk about how I got here. And so, first of all, I'm one of 11 kids. I grew up in Huntington Beach, California, and I have a twin brother. So I lost that fight out of the womb. He got one in on me, and I came out 5 minutes later. Ever since then, it was competition. So, you know, growing up with 10 brothers and sisters, I have 6 brothers and 4 sisters. Starting from top to bottom, Corey, Casey, me, Brady, Kobe, Carrie, Cammie, Courtney, Kirby, Connie, and Quincy. All right. Yeah, start remembering that. So there's certain things you learn when you have a lot of brothers and sisters. And one of them is you learn to eat fast. All right? Because if you don't, then you can't get seconds, or you don't eat at all. So, you know, you learn how to battle that one. But a lot of the things that I learned growing up was, and the biggest one for me,
you got this.
Come on, Cal.
how do I be extraordinary when I feel just like one of the pack? How do I stand out? How do I stand out? So that's been my winning formula. All right, being different, doing something different, challenging myself. And for most of my life, I thought I was second best to my twin brother. And it seemed like he had all the cool friends, even the girlfriends. I did learn when I was in high school, I was in marching band, and I figured out my sophomore year it wasn't cool to play the flute and be in marching band. So I taught myself how to play the drums, and things magically changed. But here's the deal. I literally got out of high school, and I didn't know what I was going to do. My brother was much smarter than me book-wise. I struggled in school. I barely made it out. And back then, they didn't know that, there's certain learning disabilities people had. Well, mine is I'm a visual learner. So if you show it to me, I could do it. What worked out about that is I love building stuff, and if I saw something, I could build it. And the biggest change happened for me is my next door neighbor, Aunt Dee, we called her. I don't know how she put up with all of us. We're always knocking on her door, selling her something. And in fact, she had grapefruits in her backyard, and we'd pick them and sell them to her. Whatever you got to do for money, right? But one day, something clicked for me, and she said, "Hey, I notice you know how to do all this stuff or build all these things, and will you build me this box?" And I said, "Sure." I whipped it together, and she paid me $50. And I thought, wow, that only took me cost me $2 of materials. It took me about less than an hour. All I got to do is keep doing that over and over again, and I'm going to be rich. And then I said, well, what else can I do? And she said, well, why don't you go be a handyman? You're not doing anything, why don't you do that? And I said, well, I don't know if I could do that. I haven't been trained in that. And that's where I learned the power of be, do, have. And most people don't hear that because usually they hear have, do, be. All right, let me point that out. So have is, we're taught, you gotta go to school, go to college, get a little piece of paper with writing on it that says you're a, whatever that is. All right, so now you have this. Now you're gonna go do whatever that is on there that says you're gonna do, and all of a sudden, that's what you are. All right, so the problem with that is they got it wrong. Let's just put it in reverse. B is just a declaration. Just like you're all sitting here right now, you can make a decision right now, to be wherever you want to be with the Serbia, with your family, with your life, with whatever goals you have. I don't know what that is for you, but it's a declaration that you got to make for yourself. And once you make that declaration and you start doing the things that you declare, and guess what? You start having the dreams that you want, right? So be, do, have is what I decided, and that made the world a difference to me, because I didn't have to wait around. Because if you ask Tina, she'll tell you I'm the most impatient person there is. When I want to do something, let's go all in, all out. There's no turning back. All right, and a commitment. And when I say commitment, I mean, I call it ass, W, on the line. So when you make a commitment and you put your ass on the line, and what does that look like? It looks like once you made a decision and put your W on the line, you start to feel a little uncomfortable and not in your comfort zone. And the great part about that, though, is for some people, you gotta just throw yourself into it. All right? Otherwise, it's just gonna be another good idea. And we've all had those, how many times a day, right? But if you force yourself by putting yourself out there, and guess what? Some people might take some bites out of you. But if you're doggedly committed to what you want, you'll get it and you'll have it. You just have to declare it and make a declaration for yourself, and it can happen at any time. And once you do, your confidence, your wins, your results start following along. So, I'm going to get back to that statement I made. How do you measure, or what is success? It's the measurement, all right, of how long it takes when you say, I'm going to be X, and how long it actually took to come to fruition. All right, and that's important, because there's two things, there's choices you have during that time, and there's going to be stopping blocks for sure, but the reward that you get is to see what you did. And if you don't have something to measure, then there's really nowhere to get, right? You don't have any defining line of where to go or a place to get to. And when I made these decisions for myself along the way and got involved in network marketing itself, I had no clue. I knew no clue what I was doing. In fact, I'll never forget my first webinar I did. It was a slideshow, and I called the guy. It was the first time, and I just threw myself in, thinking, okay, I just got to figure this out. This is taking too long. How do I do this faster? And I called this guy up, and I said, hey, man, how do you do the presentation? He goes, Kelly, it's not what you say on the slides. It's what you say in between that's going to make a difference. And I thought about that, and that changed everything for me. And from that moment on, I took on a company, first company, and I went from not knowing how to do anything, being scared to death. I could barely even say my name. And that's before they had Zoom, where now you can see your face. You couldn't even see your face back then. And I went from that to 6 figures of